Today we're going to talk about graphing quadratic inequalities. You graph a quadratic inequality just like you graph a quadratic function, except you're going to shade above the parabola or below the parabola when you get finished. So look at this first problem. You have y is greater than negative 2x squared plus 8x minus 7. The first thing you want to do is realize that you're in standard form. When you're in standard form, first thing for you to do is find the axis of symmetry, and then you want to find your vertex and then find 4 more points, because for you to graph a quadratic function you have to have 5 points. So first thing we're going to do is find our axis of symmetry so we can know where our vertex is going to be. So this one is in standard form. So first thing for you to do is find your axis of symmetry. And you find your axis of symmetry, remember, by doing negative b over 2a. So I have negative b is 8 over 2 times a is negative 2. So we have negative 8 over negative 4. So my axis of symmetry is x equals 2. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to dot my axis of symmetry. And then I want to find my vertex. Remember to find your vertex. Your vertex, the x-coordinate is always that axis of symmetry. And then for you to find the y value that goes with it, just take the 2 and plug into the equation. So I have negative 2 times 2 squared plus 8 times 2 minus 7. So negative 2 times 4. And here now it's just a matter of you plugging in, working out. So I have negative 8 plus 16 minus 7. So when x is 2, the y value is 1. So my vertex is over 2 up 1. And I know by a being negative that my parabola is going to open down. Now I need 4 more points. Well, now you're to the point of finding, doing a t-chart. When we're in standard form, we know our y-intercept. So my vertex was 2, 1, and then I want 2 points out on either side of that vertex. So when you plug 0 in, you get negative 7. That's my axis of symmetry, my y-intercept. So I'm going to go plot over 0 down 7, and then I'm going to mirror that point. So at 4 is also negative 7. And then I'm going to plug 1 in the place of x. So negative 2 times 1 squared plus 8 times 1 minus 7. Negative 2 times 1 plus 8 minus 7. So I have negative 2 plus 8 minus 7. That's negative 9 plus 8 is negative 1. So I have 1, negative 1. And then 3, when I plug 3 in, it'll also be negative 1. So I'm going to, and the reason I know that's because I'm going to go over 1 down 1, and then I'm going to mirror that point across. Now, what's different about your inequality and your quadratic function is now you have to decide whether your parabola is going to be dotted or solid. And you decide that by looking at this inequality symbol. This inequality symbol is greater than. Sometimes it's greater than or equal to, but this one does not have the equal to on it. So this is going to be a dotted parabola because it is not equal to. If it were to say y is greater than or equal to, then it would be a solid parabola. So here's my parabola, and it's dotted. Now, this says y is greater than. So what this means is I want y values that are greater than the y values that are on the parabola. So I'm looking right here at y, at this ordered pair here. That y value is 1. Well, what y values are bigger than 1? Well, 2, 3. So all the y values up above that parabola are bigger than 1. Well, this y value is negative 1. So what y values are bigger than negative 1? 0, 1, 2. So these y values above. This y value is negative 1. Y is greater than. So I'm going above that parabola. This y value down here is -7. What y values are bigger than -7? Well, -6, -5, -4. So what I'm going to do on this parabola, since y is greater than, I'm going to shade above the parabola. So y is greater than, so I want all the y values that are higher than or greater than the y values that are on that parabola. So there's how you shade that. Now in number 3, my parabola is in vertex form. So when you're in vertex form, then you know your vertex. Remember, your vertex is x comma y or h comma k, and you want to do the opposite of what you see in the parentheses and then exactly what you see. So my vertex in this problem is 1, 2. So I'm going to go over 1, up 2, and I know then my axis of symmetry is x equals 1. And the only reason I need to know that is so I can mirror points across. Now when you're in vertex form, the only point you have is your vertex. So now you're to the point of doing a t-chart. So I have y is less than negative parentheses x minus 1 quantity squared plus 2. And I know my vertex was 1, 2. So I'm going to pick one value away from 1 on either side. And then I'm going to pick 2 values away from x, from that vertex x value. And then you can plug in and then mirror the other one. So I'm going to plug 0 in. So I have negative 0 minus 1 squared plus 2. So I have negative 1 squared plus 2. Negative 1 plus 2 is positive 1. And then I'm going to mirror, when I go plot that one, I'm going to go over 0, up 1. And then I mirror that across. It gets me the same y value. And then I'm going to plug 3 in. So negative 3 minus 1 squared plus 2. Negative 2 squared plus 2. Negative 4 plus 2 gives me negative 2. And then I'm going to mirror that point. So I'm at negative 1 down 2 and mirroring across at 3, negative 2. And then I'm at y is less than, so this one is also going to be a dotted parabola. Now this one says y is less than. So again, find your y values. So here's a y value of y equals 2, and what's less than that? Well, 1 is, 0 is. So at this y value, 1's less than that, or down this way. Y equals negative 2 right here. The y value's less than that. So if you'll notice on this one, all of those y values being less than is going to color inside this parabola. So you're coloring inside this parabola, while less than, you're going to color inside the parabola when it's upside down, because you want those y values that are less than the y values on the parabola. So let's look at what we have here. If you have a right side up parabola and you want y is greater than, so you have this y value here, greater than, the y value's greater than, that's going to color inside that parabola. So you're coloring inside when it's greater than and right side up. Then you have right side up parabola, but y less than or equal to. Well, here's a y value, and you want less than that. The y value is less than. Notice these are on the outside of that parabola. So you would shade on the outside of the parabola. Well, if you have upside down, y is greater than. Upside down, y is less than. Look at the difference in these. Greater than, you're up here. Greater than. So on this one, you're going to shade on the outside where y is greater than. And then if it's upside down and y less than, you're doing the y values less than the y values on that parabola. And this one's going to shade inside. So there are your 4 ways that you can shade a parabola, a quadratic inequality.